Hi, my name is Becki Bawler. I'm lead teacher for ICT and Digital at Risker Community Comprehensive School. My Twitter is @BeckiBawler, and I just want to give you a quick introduction to the GCSE Digital Technologies qualification that has just been released by WJEC, and a little bit of background of how it came about. I was lucky enough to have been part of the Qualifications Wales advisory group who looked into replacing the current GCSE ICT with a new qualification called Digital Technologies. It stands alone, it does not replace computer science, so it is a different type of qualification, but it is much more up to date than the old GCSE ICT. The A level is also almost ready for release. I'm not sure exactly when that's going through, but it will be shortly. The advisory group actually consisted of 4 teachers, secondary school teachers, who work in the 4 consortium areas of Wales, so representation from across Wales in that respect. There were college lecturers from a range of different colleges. There were higher education, university representation there as well. There were other people from a very range of different ICT and digital-based organisations, and there were employers involved right from the beginning, because we wanted this qualification not just to lead to GCSE to A-level to university, but also for those students who wanted to get apprenticeships and wanted to go straight into employment. So it was important that the qualification offered something that the employers wanted from their young people when they took them on. Throughout the process, there was a range of other engagement activities with, again, those same sort of stakeholders, surveys sent out by Qualifications Wales, phone calls, conversations, interviews, lots of different things, meetings held. And the exam boards were also engaged from a very early stage. All the exam boards in the UK were invited. Some came along to the beginning, a few meetings. WJC were there from an early point and attended the meetings, both to know what we were talking about in terms of developing this curriculum, what we really wanted it to look like and what we wanted it to feel like, but also to give their advice when we sort of went a little bit wild and off track, and sort of pulling us back to the logistics of making a fairly assessed GCSE that would fit with the GCSE model. So we came up with 3 units, which is the new model for all GCSEs. The first is an exam, and we felt it important that it was an on-screen exam, and this is what WJC have offered us, a 1.5 hour on-screen exam. Now, I don't know exactly what that will look like on screen, and as a teacher, I am very aware that there are logistical issues that need to be taken into account when we do an on-screen exam. But it is important to remember that we are doing a qualification in digital technologies. The majority of the work will be done on devices. So actually, how appropriate is it to do a pen and paper written exam at the end of 2 years? We felt that actually an on-screen exam is much more appropriate. We have until the summer of 2023 to work out the logistics as schools, and I am sure that there will be lots of different advice and support coming through as more exams switch to on-screen anyway. So the broad topics are there on that slide. It goes through those key fundamental pieces of knowledge that students will need about data, about security, about the history of digital as well, the future, the impact, all of those things that are absolutely essential that our students know and understand. However, the big change for me is the 2 units then are completely NEA based. The first one, Unit 2, is that big piece of work. It's worth exactly the same amount as the exam is. It's 40% of the qualification. It's interrogating a spreadsheet, it's analysing it, sorting it, cleaning the data, and then taking that spreadsheet and planning a digital project. So it's reality, it's real world application. Creating a website base with into it either a game or an animation. And then what was also really important for this was that the exam board recognised that what the students have to have assessed is the actual finished product. So no more taking screenshots as we go, no more lots of individual pieces of evidence that teachers found were, you know, what the old GCSE, ICT, we really struggled with that evidence collection. This is now going to be, you know, the assets log, the development log, the planning documents, but actually the finished articles are what are going to be submitted to the exam board to be assessed by their moderators. Internet access is not banned because we recognised that you know, a lot of the systems that students are using are going to be cloud-based, but obviously it's going to be controlled and restricted, and there are so many really good detailed guidelines in the WJC specification document about that. Unit 3 is a smaller piece of work. It's 15 hours NEA. And it's about using online marketing. It's about the social media aspect. Again, it's about looking at what is available, the impact of it, and then from a brief, creating those digital assets and planning it and going as far as publication, but not actually publishing. We felt that that was probably a step too far for schools in particular, but that the actual process was critical. There are the graphics elements of it again, there's the creation, the creativity is in there again, but also those core skills that are being used day in, day out in businesses and organisations. So a quick summary then, as you can see there, you know, you've got that 40% and 20%, 2 NEAs and an on-screen assessment. Again, there's lots more guidance in the actual specification. So I'll leave you with the link there. WJC are offering training in February, which you can book online. I believe it's free training. So get on and book it as a teacher, because that will go through it in much more detail. The specification document is out. It is very detailed. There's an HTML link as well to more information, examples of the asset logs, the development logs, details about how we submit the work, and all the criteria for the NEAs. So there's a huge amount on there to read through. And I also know that consortiums over the next few months will be looking at running some sessions as well to make sure that, you know, we are ready for its launch in September 2021. I'm really excited about it. I'm also looking forward to then the following year, the launch of the A-level. And I know that the universities and the other organisations involved in the planning think that this is going to be a really good qualification for our students. So hopefully you do too. Feel free to get in touch or get in touch directly with the WJC, with Andy Parker there, for any other questions. But hopefully I'll see you at the training in February, and enjoy the qualification.